and stared down a tiny gremlin in an abundance of pink frills. The kid was frozen mid-kick. Her rainbow-striped sneakers flashed like mini disco lights. Julia opened her mouth, 1 millisecond away from a scathing lecture about personal space and respect, when she spotted the woman in the seat next to the kid. Short, dark brown hair, sharp jawline, lanky athletic build, and unmistakably butch. The trendy designer glasses made her look more smart than sexy, but it was a close call. Dusk blue eyes caught Julia's gaze. Well, damn. Julia realized her mouth was hanging open. She closed it quickly and turned to the kid. As long as she didn't look back at the mom, she could pretend that her cheeks weren't burning up. "Sweetie, my stomach's upset with this bumpy plane ride. Do you think you can stop kicking my chair? It would really help." "Mom told me, but I forgot. Sorry." The little girl glanced at the butch woman and then back at Julia. She kicked the side of the plane and pointed at the flashing lights along the front of her sneaker. "My shoes light up." "I can see that." Clearly having light-up shoes exonerated her. "I bet those are fun to watch when you run around in the dark." "That's why Mom got them for me. I'm scared of the dark." Julia couldn't help but look over at the mom then. She was convinced the universe was playing a cruel joke. The most attractive butch she'd seen in ages had not one but 2 kids. A matching burst of pink was sound asleep in her lap. The 2 girls looked to be about the same age, but the kicker had curly dark brown hair while the napping one had blonde braids. "I fell asleep for a bit. I hope she hasn't been kicking for long." The mom turned to her daughter and started in on how she'd have to take away the shoes if she couldn't be responsible for her feet. Julia doubted a stern talk about foot responsibility would slow this kid down. She would have ripped the shoes off. Problem solved. She quickly scanned the nearby seats. No one else was obviously with this group, and the mom wasn't wearing a ring. "But I can't see in the dark without my shoes," the kid was saying. Her eyes had started to water, crocodile tears. "It's not dark in here, Bryn," the mom sighed. "Look, you can keep the shoes on as long as you don't kick her seat." The plane lurched through a patch of clouds, and Julia grabbed her chair's headrest. She swallowed, tasting bile. "Are you going to throw up?" Bryn's eyes widened. "I don't think so," although she wasn't one for dramatic ploys. She finally had the kid's attention and knew she should play it up. But this turbulence, on top of all that seat kicking, turning to her mom, Bryn said, "I know what she needs." She whispered something and the butch woman shook her head, but Bryn leaned forward to search her seat back pocket anyway. When she popped up again, she was holding a white paper vomit bag. "You can take mine in case you can't find yours in time." Before Julia could stop her, Bryn had pressed the vomit bag into her hands. Julia stared at the bag, feeling the butch woman's eyes on her. She was officially sunk. No one could pull off looking sexy with a vomit bag. The most she could do now was make sure the kicking stopped. There's one problem. Julia tugged open the vomit bag. She already regretted her next sentence. "I ate a big breakfast, and this isn't going to hold at all." Bryn glanced from Julia to her mom, her panic obvious. "What should we do?" "Well, we don't want her to overfill that bag. I think you better stop kicking." The mom looked up at Julia and winked. Julia dared a smile, and the look she got in return made her heart leap to attention. Maybe she wasn't sunk. Before she had time to process the buzz of feelings in her chest, Bryn covered her face with her hands and started making loud "ew" sounds. The mom tried to quiet Bryn as the sleeping kid in her lap stirred, and Julia felt a pang of guilt. 10 minutes ago, she'd cursed this stranger for not controlling her kid's feet. It was obvious now that she had her hands full. Suddenly, Bryn said, "I know what you need. A candy cane." "Oh, no, I don't need any candy," Julia said. "But Mom says peppermint helps when your tummy hurts," Bryn insisted, already pulling out a plastic bag full of mini candy canes and jelly beans that had been hidden under a sweatshirt. "She knows all about stuff like that because she's a doctor. Basically, she knows everything." "Basically," the mom grinned. I primed her on that line.